think we'll get started. There's a few more people in the waiting room, but you know, they'll join on as we get going here. Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. We got a great presentation today. We're fortunate to have Highway Operations here, Anthony Colangelo and Hal Decker, and they're going to give a talk on their ATMS strategic plan. But before we get into that, we do have a brief program with a few announcements here that ITE will be making, and also CJ from ITS will come on with a few announcements as well. So we'll get started with that. I do want to start off by first and foremost by recognizing Jim Ford. Our board was very saddened to learn of Jim's passing back on January 28th. I'm sure many on this call crossed paths with Jim at some point, you know, during your career. He had an incredible 50-year career working for the state. He was involved working for municipalities, private consulting firms as well. Devoted transportation. He's devoted to the transportation engineering industry here in Connecticut. Also a lifelong member of ITE. He was a recipient of our chapter's 2000 Transportation Achievement Award. He also was recipient of our 2013 Transportation Leadership Award for his many years of dedication and leadership in the transportation industry in Connecticut. So his contributions throughout his career were immeasurable. He will be greatly missed. And on behalf of the IT board, we just want to extend our condolences and our thoughts to Jim's friends and family. And if we could, I'd just like to have a brief moment of silence as we remember Jim. Thank you. So before we get on with the presentation today, as I mentioned, we've got a few announcements here for ITE Connecticut. First, our student scholarship application is out. It was emailed by Jay, I believe, a few weeks back. I am very happy to report we received $4,000 in profits from our fall golf outing, which funds this scholarship. So that was great news. We have a nice fund here for this award. The application, if you didn't get the email for this year's scholarship application, is up on our website at ctite.weebly.com. And Carl, I see, has posted that to the chat. So please forward that to those that might be interested, or anyone you might know that would be a good candidate. The applications for that are going to be due on April 1st. Those candidates will then be evaluated and rated based on a committee we have of our past presidents, and we'll announce the winner at our upcoming spring meeting. Also wanted to note elections for our 2022 and 2023 officers will be upcoming as well. We're going to have a nominations notice that will be emailed out soon. This year's, just to give you a sneak preview, this year's slate of candidates will be up for President, Carl Dusler, for Vice President, Colleen Jost, Treasurer, Jay Lockaby, and for Secretary, we've got two great candidates running this year, Sandeep Isola from New Haven, and also Will Kresick from VHB. So as I mentioned, we'll have the nominations will be sent out, nominations notice will be sent out. If you have any additional, candidates you think would be good to run for our board, we're accepting nominations up until March 15th. And then after that, we'll close that and we'll send out the election ballot via SurveyMonkey, and we'll announce those results at our upcoming spring meeting as well. And while this is not an elected position, I did want to put a call out for a webmaster. It's a good way to get involved in our chapter. We are looking for someone who's savvy with the website to just kind of maintain and update our website. We've been kind of doing it on a ad hoc basis here. Actually, Carl's been doing most of the legwork, but it would be helpful to have somebody. If you're interested, please let any of us know here on the board. And like I say, it's a good way to get involved in IT and get involved in our chapter. As far as membership, I wanted to note if you're not currently a member of ITE, we do have a link to the IT International membership page up on our website. It's under the Join ITE tab on our ITE chapter website. Just a reminder, as part of One ITE, we're no longer collecting individual Connecticut chapter dues. It's all going through international now, so you have to be a member of international. Another reminder, you're not eligible to vote in our election unless you're a member of IT as well. So, I think there's a lot of great benefits to being a member, and I certainly encourage you to go on our website or the IT International website if you're not a member and consider joining. While we are on the topic of membership, I've got some very exciting news. The Department of Transportation is now an agency member of ITE. This has been a long time in the making. And as an agency member, they actually get 23 individual memberships. So we have a variety of staff in traffic engineering, planning, OSTA, and highway design who are now members of ITE. So I wanted to extend many thanks to Mark Carlino and Garrett Ucolito for all their efforts in making that happen. And lastly, just want to hit on a couple of our upcoming meetings we have here in the spring. The first is IT International is having their virtual spring conference. It's being held on March 15th and March 16th. So it's all online virtual conference, but there's going to be 15 PDHs available there for those who need professional development hours. The website, and Carl, maybe you could put this in the chat as well, is itespringconference.org. That is the website there to sign up for that if you're interested. Our spring meeting is going to be held in the mid to late April timeframe. We don't have a date set yet to be decided. This is our annual joint meeting with New England ITE. We intend to have this meeting in person. Cross your fingers if everything continues to go the way it's going. We'd love to have this meeting back in person. It'll be the first time in a couple of years that we've had the chance to do that. So look for an announcement coming up on that soon, some point during March. We should have more information on the details on that meeting. And lastly, I want to mention that the Northeast District meeting as well is upcoming in Ithaca, New York. That is May 11th through the 13th, and registration information for that meeting is up on the Northeast District website right now as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to CJ. I think he's got a couple of brief announcements on ITS Connecticut's behalf as well.
Thanks, Mark. As we're at ITS Connecticut, we've gone into a mini rebuild mode. So look for news coming out soon. We were hoping to have it ready for this meeting, but we're not quite ready. We're going to formally launch our new website. It's totally revamped. Obviously, everybody knows it's a lot of work in the back end. So we've been chipping away at that, getting that kind of rebuilt, ready to launch. We'll also have some announcements coming out. We're going to restart our Lunch and Learn series. We're waiting out COVID to see which direction we're going. And it looks like, in some form, virtual or in person. Hopefully in person, we'll start doing some of those Lunch and Learn series that were pretty successful in the past. Also, our ITS Connecticut annual meeting, tentative date is September 21. Right, so we're going to lock that in soon, shortly, in person with our vendor showcase, the Hawthorne, kind of like we've done in the past. So more news to come on that. One more thing to mention is our membership. Membership renewals will be sent out soon, but the ITS Connecticut Board of Directors really decided that during the pandemic, we didn't want to charge our membership. So we waived fees all the way through since the start of the pandemic. And we're going to continue through 2022 to waive our sponsorships for any returning sponsors. That'll be announced pretty soon in a big newsletter coming out. But all our sponsorships are welcome back and just pay our membership dues. Really understand some organizations, went through tough times, and we haven't been providing everything that we have in the past. So although there are still costs on the back end, we really feel that it's important to start collecting our membership fees again, but recognize in the past that the situation was different. And more will come out about that as well. So that's about it for ITS Connecticut right now. Stay tuned. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, CJ. Okay, at this point, I'd like to introduce our presenters for this afternoon. As I mentioned, ConnDOT Highway Operations is here today to present their strategic plan for its 15-year plan for implementation of advanced traffic management systems, or ATMS equipment here in Connecticut, including CCTV cameras, variable message signs, roadway weather information systems, fiber optic cable communications. So our presenters today are Anthony Colangelo and Hal Decker from the Highway Operations Division. Anthony has been working in the ITS industry for over 8 years at the department as supervising engineer. He's been responsible for the design, implementation, operation, and maintenance of various ATS equipment, including CCTVs, VMS signs, the roadway weather information systems, and fiber optic communications. Some of the major projects that Anthony has led include the Highway Operations Center reconstruction project, the I-91, 691 camera and fiber optic expansion, Route 9, Route 72 camera and fiber optic expansion project, and the statewide roadway weather information systems expansion project. Hal Decker is a principal engineer. He's in charge of the highway operations section at the department. Hal has over 34 years of experience in complex ITS planning, design, and operations at the department. He is responsible for directing ConnDOT's TSMO program, including the areas of ATMS, traveler information systems, computerized signal systems, road weather management systems, and traffic incident management. He also manages the DOT's 224/7 highway operations centers in Bridgeport and Newington, and Hal is co-chair of the DOT's Standing Committee on Connected and Automated Vehicle Systems. Also a board member of ITS New England, former director of ITS Connecticut, and a former president of Connecticut ITE as well. So without further ado, I will turn this over now to Anthony and Hal. And if you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them up in the chat box, and Carl will be monitoring those, or you can just raise your hand and ask them in person at the end of the presentation. All right, take it away, guys.
Thank you, Mark. And on behalf of Connecticut DOT Highway Operations, just want to say thank you for the opportunity to present our program today. It's been some time since we've seen many of you folks. There are a lot of familiar faces and names I see popping up online here during the introductions. It's good to see you all again. COVID has certainly thrown our office into turmoil as it has, I'm sure, where you work as well. We have basically been shut down to any visitors for over 2 years. In the early part of COVID, we moved into a new highway operations center, which you can see right there on that slide. Quite an expansion from our old facility, and we haven't had really a good opportunity to show it off yet. So I'm hoping at the future meeting, maybe we can do a virtual tour, or maybe we can even do an on-site tour and have some of you folks in and take a walk through the center. It's pretty interesting and impressive, and we're really pleased with the way it turned out. As Mark mentioned, our presentation today is going to be on the ATMS system. the cameras, VMS, fiber optic poles, and roadway information systems. We're doing a lot of other neat things in other areas, such as computerized signal systems. That's always been a big part of our unit. Got some exciting news there. We're doing a large scale road weather management system deployment, putting equipment on our snowplow vehicles. We're also doing some good work with smart work zone systems and doing some connected vehicle projects, and traffic incident management, really doing some expanded training and some equipment deployment. But I only have so much time. So today we'll talk about ATMS, and we look forward to talking about some of these other topics in future meetings. So Anthony, if you could go ahead and move to the next slide.
Yep, thank you. Before we get started, if you guys can ask questions, please hold them till the end. And Joe Balskis, you're only allowed one question today. So think first.
Make it a good one, Joe. So let's just take a quick step back in time before we talk about where we're at now. This is 1987, Weathersfield Annex Building, an old DOT building. It was in a maintenance garage, I guess, at one point in the past. And this was the Highway Operations Center and our traffic management program at the time. It was dedicated to traffic signals on arterial roads in the greater Hartford area. I think we had about 50 or 60 when this picture was taken. There's a state-of-the-art IBM XT computer on the desk with those 5.25-inch floppy disk drives, and we had some terminals from a mainframe computer that was in the other room. Yeah, it was a big console. We had a lot of room there. But that's how we started. It's quite, I guess, similar to the way many other states started their program in the area of traffic signals. So 1987, I was an intern college working at DOT. Joe was an intern working for a consultant firm. And Chuck Harlow is a fairly new employee working down the hall in traffic engineering. It's amazing. It's been that many years already, 30, almost 35 years since this picture was taken. So moving ahead a bit.
Well, hell, before we go on to the next one, even though this center was built in the 1980s, we still follow the same kind of process that we have back then. We're a communication and traffic control clearinghouse that seeks, receives, processes, and transmits incoming and outgoing information to ensure public safety. The functions that we perform in our operation centers are quick detection, response, and clearance of traffic incidents, reducing secondary accidents, and ensuring quick traveler notification. The process that we follow since then was detection, verification, notification, response, and site management and clearance. So we've been following that since the 80s, and let's move forward, and now we're into the 90s.
Yeah, so by the time this picture was taken, it was probably about 1994, 1995. We're in Newington now in the headquarters building. We've got two cameras. We went from signals into cameras and variable message signs, in large part due to the 8491 reconstruction project. So we had about a dozen variable message signs, and we said, you know what, we need to see what's going on out there as well. So we put in two cameras. We built this new center in the new building, and we had all these computers lined up on the console. There were no computer networks. Travel information, Anthony, you said, was always been part of what we did. Until we had our variable message signs, we weren't really able to do that, to communicate well to the public. But the signs allowed us to do that. Lots changed again since then. We still use signs, still an important part of our program. But again, here we're got a nice little video wall, the plan for the future, but it was still, long ways from where we needed to go. Traffic management in the department was in its infancy. It was a program that our former commissioner, Frankel, brought in. It was starting to become a hot topic around the country. IVHS America was formed, became ITS America. So as you said, this is a few years later. I'll go to the next slide. Okay, even now we're in the 90s. Actually, no, we're 2001. We moved ahead a little bit further. So now we have a center with a few more cameras. We're starting to put more infrastructure on the highways, and we're 24-hour a day. And yeah, that's what we grew into, and that's where we were until about a year and a half ago when we moved into the new center, which is across from Mahal from where the old center is now. This location is now a conference room that replaced the old conference room in DOT's basement, ground floor area. So I'm going to turn over the discussion to Anthony now. Again, this is the evolution of our traffic management system control area. Anthony will talk about what our plans are, where we stand right now with deployment on the field side, and what our future plans are moving forward.
Thank you, Hal. Just some more quick facts about this center, because this was one of my main projects. For those of you who heard my presentation last time, you probably seen some of these things, but in this center, we had a 25-foot video wall, 4 operators consoles. Our storm room was detached, so the 2 entities could not talk with each other. In our storm room, we only had 2 operators consoles, and we had 6 engineering cubicles dedicated to performing the design, operation, and maintenance of our ATMS. Fast forward to
15 years.
Fast forward to our new operation center, which was completed in 2020. We have a 50-foot video wall. We have 8 operators consoles. We have a 25-foot video wall in the storm area, which is on the other side of this wall, which is closed right now due to COVID. But normally we could open it up when non-COVID situations occur. And in that storm room, we have 4 storm room consoles. Behind this video wall, we have 10 engineering cubes for the engineers to support the major functions of our ITS unit. And we have 2 offices. So a pretty big upgrade. We also have a center down in Bridgeport that covers basically the 95 corridor. This is the old Bridgeport Operations Center that was completed in 2005. You could see they don't even have a video wall. They just have TV monitors on the wall. They have 3 operators consoles and 3 state police 911 dispatch consoles. Fast forward to 2015 when we opened the new Bridgeport Operations Center. We have a 25-foot video wall with 4 operators consoles and 4 state police 911 dispatch consoles. Bridgeport Operations Center is a little bit different than the Newington Operations Center because the state police actually sit right behind our operators. So it's a seamless communication between state police and our operators. In Newington, we have a dedicated phone line for state police to call us. So to get into our field hardware now, we have 362 CCTV cameras statewide. They are real-time handheld zoom, and we do not record. We use these cameras for the detection and verification of incidents on the highways. We also have 143 VMS, variable message signs, statewide. The purpose is to notify the motorists of any incidents upcoming. We display travel times, incidents and delays, any road work, and amber alerts. Our ATMS strategic plan is focusing more on our cameras and our fiber cable. For our VMS signs, we've actually been mainstreaming those on traffic signage projects, and that's been working out very well. But the strategic plan is focusing on cameras and fibers. VMS will be looked at a per corridor basis on each of these. So we also have our road weather information systems. We have 40 RWIS statewide that give us real-time site-specific weather information. Some of the conditions that we could get are road surface temperature, subsurface temperature, the pavement condition. So if it's wet, if it's dry, if it's icy, we could tell the salt concentration, we could tell the road freezing temp, the air temperature, and any of the atmospheric conditions. We just expanded our RWIS to 40 RWIS from 13 RWIS. So we feel like we're at a pretty mature level right now, and there's no plans for a larger scale expansion. Like Hal said before, we're focusing on bringing our MDSS system up to this level of our RWIS system. So to get into our ATMS strategic plan a little bit, this is a map that shows our current deployment of all of the ATMS infrastructure that we just talked about. The pink dots are the CCTV cameras. The yellow dots are the variable message signs. And the green dots or the green triangles, I'm sorry, are the weather stations. We have our two centers. We have our Newington Center and our Bridgeport Operations Center. And you can see that the Newington Operations Center covers everything above this dotted line, which is pretty much the greater Hartford area. And the Bridgeport Operations Center here covers everything, I'm sorry, right here covers everything below the dotted line, which is pretty much the 95 corridor. And this is a map that shows where we want to be. We have identified key corridors that we believe our ATMS infrastructure would benefit from being on. These key corridors are shown by these purple outlines. We also have these blue highlighted areas within the key corridors, which represent the projects that we would like to complete within the next 15 years. We looked at these projects because they had to meet a specific criteria before we considered them a priority project. So the first criteria that we looked at is the crash frequency and crash location. So as an example, I'm showing a slide here from the Yukon Crash Repository on the I-95 corridor. You can see within the past 5 years that we have a high crash rate in the Norwalk area, right here, in the Stanford area. So this kind of gets our attention to go where we would like our infrastructure to be. After the crash frequency, we look at the recurrent delay that is occurring on 95 in this same area. For this, we pull our heat maps from RITIS. We can see here that I-95 has recurring traffic volume and traffic delay on southbound during AM peak and northbound during PM peak, which we probably already know. Next, we investigate the gaps in coverage that we have on our key corridors. These gaps have been identified to us by our operations staff, our state police, and our field personnel. So all of these gaps. So from this criteria, we produced a proposed action plan. The order of the projects are determined by considering the operational needs. So as you can see, we're proposing to do the majority of our replacement projects up front to address the state of repair of our equipment, and then we're looking to expand.
Yeah, Anthony, so I just want to mention that some of those first projects that we're going to be doing are upgrades of projects that were completed for the early 2000s, the greater Hartford area. So that equipment's reached the end of its useful life. You know, the camera poles were an old style pole that we used before we went to lowering devices. So again, and there's some of the electronics in the cabinets needs to be upgraded as well. So, you know, as you mentioned, we're really focusing on state of good repair, and we have some systems right up front that we know we need to replace.
So let's get into the projects. Project 1 is the addition of the ATMS infrastructure in central Connecticut on Route 9 and Route 72. This project is currently in construction, and we are proposing to install 29 cameras and replace 9 existing cameras. This project is in New Britain, Berlin, Cromwell, and Middletown. Next, we looked at the Southwest Connecticut area from Stamford to Fairfield, and we are proposing to replace 31 existing cameras. We're also looking to expand on the limited access portion of Route 7 from I-95 to Grist Mill Road with 5 additional cameras. That's this little leg right here.
So project one, you probably, if you travel Route 72 or 9, you've probably seen some of the VMS signs that are already up right now, and hopefully those will be working shortly. As schedule shows, we've got about 1.5 years left before construction completion for the camera system and fiber out there. Project 2 is just started design, so got a ways to go on that one. But that's a lot of it is upgrade with some limited expansion.
So now we get into project 3. Project 3, we're looking to connect our infrastructure in Newington to our infrastructure in Bridgeport by installing fiber optic cable. We're also looking to install 12 new cameras and replace 9 cameras. Currently, the 2 centers are connected via AT&T fiber, but if we have our own fiber connected, we would not have to rely on that, and it would create redundancy between the 2 centers. This project is from New Haven to Wallingford. So now we're looking at our Hartford area replacement. This is the first leg of the Hartford area camera replacement. It will be I-84 from Hartford to Tolland. We are looking to replace 26 cameras in this area. And we're actually looking to expand on I-84 to exit 69, which is to Tolland, where the Tolland Hills are, by installing 13 cameras. We're also looking to expand on I-384 to exit 3 with 3 cameras. We've noticed a lot of big tractor trailer accidents on that hill over in Tolland on I-84. So hopefully with our expansion, we could see those accidents coming and hopefully reduce secondary accidents. Next leg of our Hartford area expansion is the I-91 section from Hartford to Windsor. With this, we are planning on replacing 18 cameras on I-91, and we're also looking to expand on I-291 with 4 additional cameras. Next, we are looking at the 84 West leg, which is Hartford to New Britain, with the replacement of 40 cameras. And finally, we are looking at the last leg of the Hartford area replacement project, which is I-91 from Hartford to Cromwell, with the replacement of 29 cameras. Now we are going down to the southern part of the state at I-95 from exit 64, or I'm sorry, exit 44 to exit 64, which is New Haven to Old Saybrook, with the replacement of 50 cameras. Now we are looking to start expanding. One of the first expansion projects that we are going to look at is something that I've been trying to do for a little while here. It's the Southeast Connecticut portion of the state. From I-95, on I-95 from exit 64 to exit 67. So from Old Saybrook to Old Lyme. This project, we are looking to replace 5 cameras on I-95, install 7 cameras on I-95. And we're also looking to install 2 cameras on Route 9 to exit 3. Next project is going to build off of that on I-95. And we are looking to go from Old Lyme to New London. We're looking to replace 9 cameras and install 11 new cameras. Now we're looking to go I-91 north from Route 20 to the Massachusetts state line with the installation of 13 new cameras. Project 9 is building upon our I-95 expansion. In this project, we are going to go from New London to the Rhode Island state line. We are going to replace 3 cameras and install 14 new cameras. Now, project 10, we're looking more at Western Connecticut. Route 8 has been a little bit of a hot spot for us on these winter storms, as many of you guys recall recently. So from this project, we're looking to expand from Bridgeport to Shelton on Route 8, and we're looking to install 16 new cameras. Project 11 builds on that Route 8 expansion, and we're looking to go north and connect to our Waterbury system. So we're looking to go from Shelton to Watertown in this project on Route 8 with the installation of 19 cameras. And we're also looking to replace the Waterbury cameras. And those are 19 cameras in the Waterbury area that we are looking to replace. Project 12 is a big project. With this project, we're looking to go from the Waterbury area to the New York state line on I-84. And in this project, we are looking to install 21 cameras and replace 8 cameras. And finally, we are looking to go back to the Southeast Connecticut area. And in this project, we're going up 395 and hitting that Route 2A portion. And we are looking to replace 6 cameras on the 395. And we're looking to install 5 additional cameras on 395. We're also looking to install 5 new cameras on that Route 2A leg. So that is our strategic plan. Before we get into the questions, I have a question for you guys. Can anyone name all of the people in this picture? And Joe Balskis, if you can name them all, I'll let you get another question in.
Yeah, looks like you've got Hal, Jim Mona, Bob DeSanto, John Cordy. Who's the dude to the right? And sitting
Come on, Joe, you got it.
Oh, I know his face. Someone else may know. I know the 2 faces. I can't remember. Is he still at DOT?
Yes.
Yep, still at DOT.
Chris Brochu?
No,
No, Steve Hurley.
he works in facilities design.
You got me. I'm
Chuck, if you're on the line, Chuck or Tracy.
It's Ed Macherek.
Ed Macherek. That's right. That's right. Thank you. And who's
Last-
sitting?
He was a legend. Jim Kavanaugh.
Jim Kavanaugh. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, with Highway Ops for many years. And I think he's finally retired now. He was with a consultant firm for a number of years. You know, Anthony, one thing I wanted to mention about the plan is it's our plan for Highway Ops. It's what we developed, you know, with input from our executive team and the executive group in engineering. But some of these projects, you know, we may potentially move ahead quicker. You know, one of the ones that was kind of near the end of our list was Danbury. We have a study underway right now for some of the 84 corridor in Danbury. There's a TISMO analysis being done. So, you know, beside the projects that we initiate in highway operations, we're supporting a large number of other projects that are underway in the department. So that certainly keeps our ATMS team busy, because we're trying to, again, not only initiate and develop our projects, we're trying to support everything else as well and make sure their existing systems remain operational. Good to see Jay Coolis on the call. Jay did a lot of work in keeping our existing I-95 systems operational during all the major reconstruction work on that corridor. And that was a full-time job plus. So just want to acknowledge Jay and all the work he did on that. Also wanted to mention that highway operations has reorganized a bit during COVID. We've been pleased to add some additional staff to our unit. So right now we have two groups. We have the ATMS group with Anthony as the lead. Anthony's supported by Bob Kennedy, Rich Launder, Kevin Don, Dave Cruz, and Adam Plekan, some of which are on the call. And then we have a second group headed by John Cordy, which is in charge of our computerized traffic signal system efforts. And then on the traffic incident management side, it's handled by Aiden Neely, who is now the lead over both of our operations centers. So we're glad to bring these folks on board. It enables us to again, bring a more proactive program forward, like the one that we presented, because it seems like at times we're kind of trying to tread water and stay on top. But again, really appreciate you know, all the great staff we brought on board and how they've helped us really bring our ITS program forward. So with that, if you don't have anything else, Anthony, you can open it up to questions.
Yep.
One question I saw up front from Joe, and Joe, if I hope you don't mind if I steal your thunder here. You're asking about unit prices. Yeah, huge increases in unit prices and issues with availability, especially fiber optic cable is a 1 year, 1.5 year lead time now for projects. So there's some things we can do to try to, you know, try to take advantage of vendor stock that might be available. But maybe Anthony, you can touch on unit prices and what we're seeing with some.
Yeah, we've definitely seen an increase in unit prices. Adam, I know you're on the line. You just did a quick go over on our unit prices. Do you remember which ones had the biggest jump?
Yeah, it's a lot of the conduit prices and some of the technology prices. Some of these we see like a 60% increase, some are as low as 20, but pretty much everything has gone up recently.
As far as the cable, yeah, the glass is made in Corning, New York, but it's all the other materials, the binders that go on the outside, the coatings. Those are the ones that are in short supply. For a while, it looked like we could even get low smoke, zero halogen type conduit like is used in tunnels, but now even that cable is hard to get. So vendors are again really working hard. And I understand that transportation is one of their higher priority agencies, you know, as a government agency. Supposedly lead times to some of the private sector efforts are even longer than 1.5 years. So hoping that situation turns around, but we're building all these you know, delays into our schedule. Being that fiber takes a long time to procure, we make sure that we in pre-construction meetings that we talk about that with the contractor and you know, the project management group to make sure that we order the fiber in sufficient time and other materials to make sure that we don't delay the project. So not sure who's handling other questions here. Carl, is it you? It's going to be.
Sure. Do you want to talk at all about the 5G or V2X technology that Joe was asking about? Joe said, what about 5G technology and application, and if any, in ITS in Connecticut? Also, is V2X technology being considered?
Yeah, so there's a project on the Berlin Turnpike that's going to be using C-V2X. It's part of the new computerized signal system upgrade. So we're going to be doing some testing of cloud priority using CD2X. There's talk about doing CD2X elsewhere in the state for maybe transit priority. However, there are no definitive plans that I'm aware of on state roads, at least. But it is being discussed. 5G, nothing to report on the 5G front from our standpoint yet. So again, maybe that we can talk more about that, you know, when we talk about the signals. But for our ATMS systems, fiber optic cable is really the preferred communication medium. You know, except in some areas where we do take advantage of data circuits, or we do use some microwave transmission in a few spots, but it's usually interim and a last, kind of the last choice. So we're hoping with the build out of fiber that most of our projects we've outlined today would take advantage of that.
Looks like Kevin's helping to answer on the 5G question there, Hal.
Okay, good.
I had a quick question about whether or not there are opportunities or agreements with Rhode Island DOT, Mass DOT, New York DOT to share video feeds where traffic is entering our interstates.
There are not currently, not really hasn't been a point of discussion.
We don't share video, but we are constantly communicating with New York, Rhode Island, and MassDOT. Especially New York along the 95 corridor. We are constantly calling them from our Bridgeport Operations Center and coordinating any efforts that would affect either them, or they call us if anything would affect us.
Yeah, so Transcom's an important partner to us for coordinating with New York and New Jersey. We don't necessarily share video, although our video cameras are available on cttravelsmart.org, our website. But we coordinate when there's an event on the highway, either in Connecticut or in another state. We have an incident in Connecticut, we'll work with Transcom, they'll coordinate with New York and, if necessary, New Jersey to let motorists know about the impacts. The same goes with Rhode Island and Mass. We'll contact them directly. There have been a lot of discussions lately about winter weather coordination, travel bans, you know, making sure we're consistent from one state to another, and how we're dealing with truck bans. Still a work in progress. We're still seeing quite a bit of variation in state rules from one state to another, but the conversation's taking place, which is good. You know, we try to work together, and we work a lot directly with the agencies, with Transcom, and we have a number of meetings every year with the Eastern Transportation Coalition, hoping to broker some of the traffic incident management and road weather impacts.
That's very interesting. Thank you. Mike Guarino asks, are there any strategic plans to utilize camera intelligence or video analytics for automatic incident detection or data collection?
I believe Rich Launder's on the line. He could help explain this better. But in general, we use PTZ dome style cameras. So we're constantly looking left and right. We do have our preset location, but the camera may never be in one spot for that long. And in order to use video analytics for automatic incident detection, the camera needs to be in a single spot for long so that it could detect if an incident is happening that's different from the regular image.
Great.
Yeah, if you want me to just follow up on that a little bit, you know, one thing that, you know, is learned with using analytics in the camera head, especially with PTZ cameras, and being that, you know, operators are constantly moving them. Another challenge is location of the actual camera and offset to the road. The more offset to the road that it is, the worse the accuracy becomes. So you kind of have to pick strategic locations for analytics to be used. But as far as analytics are concerned, we are looking at it in the camera head and edge devices for possible analytics in the future.
Thanks, Rich.
I don't see any more questions in the chat. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just going to say, Hal or Anthony, you mentioned Project 1 there, Route 9 and 72 was, I know that's coming up. It's happening in the next 1 to 2 years. But of the 12 projects you mentioned, what are the next priorities on the list? And are any of these, you have funding in hand for any of these yet?
So the priority of the list is we did them in priority.
You did, okay. Yep.
Yeah, we did those in priority. We have funding for 2 of the projects. Actually, the Southwest CCTV replacement, which is Project 2, has already started design. And Project 3, which is our 91 connection project, is just secured funding. So we just got approval for that. And we got approval from our upper management for the next 6 projects after that. So
Wow, that's great.
yeah, we're moving along here.
Yeah, and the way we're organized, we have a small group, even with the expansion, but we have 2 engineers, 2 project engineers. They're kind of working on projects simultaneously. They're Bob Kennedy and Kevin Don. So Bob and Kevin are each taking care of projects that are running, somewhat similar on the schedule. And again, we plan this all out with input from folks like Scott Hill, Jim Fallon, financial management, and our own executive leadership in our bureau. So we're really excited about the plan. We haven't anything really this coordinated for implementation in a while, for a number of reasons, including funding constraints and staffing constraints. So again, it's good to have something more methodical laid out that kind of sets our course here for the next 15 years. It'll go by quickly.
For sure. Carl, looks like I got a couple of more questions came
Yeah.
up.
Like of your current fleet, what percentage is analog cameras and what percentage is internet protocol cameras?
Rich, looks like we got another question for you, but I can answer this. We're currently using analog cameras. All of our existing cameras are analog cameras. Our new installs, because they stopped making analog cameras, we're looking at these hybrid analog digital cameras that we've spec'd out. Rich, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so it's a digital IP camera natively with a additional ability for compatibility with our existing matrix switcher. So any of the new installations, like Anthony has said, is getting these new cameras while keeping existing compatibility with our head-end systems. The goal is once the percentage of cameras gets high enough, then we would be looking to switch over to a new all digital system.
Thank you. What delivery method is DOT using for these projects?
So we are doing the design, bid, build with our on-call consultant right now. I don't think we have any plans to do design build projects.
Great. Tracy Fogarty asks if there is any possibility of coordinating with planning for the potential to include additional equipment specific to data collection, if any of the locations are conducive to that.
So for this one, we are not putting out data collection devices anymore. We're currently looking into how you might need to
Yeah.
help on this one.
Yeah. So
having a brain fart here on what it is.
okay. So when it comes to planning, Tracy, good question. And yes, we are. So we work with Brad over and his staff, and having a number of locations in Connecticut deployed grid smart cameras on our camera poles, so they can get power to the cameras right up the camera pole, right from our camera cabinet. They have their own comm. They have a cell modem. So, you know, that's been a big assistance to planning to get some traffic count stations out on the highway that are out of pavement, and they don't have to install their own control, you know, power source and cabinet and such. So yeah, you know, we really enjoy working with planning. That's what we've done with them so far. And we're certainly willing to look into other opportunities to partner together as well. So good question. Was that what you were looking for on the traffic count side?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. You know, Anthony, you were talking about sort of the equipment that we used to deploy, some of the count equipment. We're using a lot of crowdsourced information right now for things like travel time. There's just so much data available now through third-party providers. There are a lot of companies out there, and we use HERE data through Transcom to do all of our travel time runs. We also partner with Waze we get incident data from Waze, so we know, helps us know if there's a problem on the highway. If somebody in their vehicle says there's an accident, there's a slowdown, it pops right up on our operator screen in our traffic management center. And also from a similar standpoint, if our operators see something, we can declare it in our traffic management system. That information is sent out to Waze users. So, you know, we do try to, you know, we are trying to take advantage of all the opportunities that are out there right now in the private sector, and there are many of them. A lot to consider, a lot to work with, but it's certainly the growing part of the field for, you know, data collection and data analysis.
Great.
Okay.
Any other questions? I think that's it in the chat box. Great. Yeah, I just wanted to mention a few things before we break. We actually got approval from ITE for PDH credits for this session. So if you do need professional development hours, they are, the link is in the chat box there. I believe it was the first thing that Carl put up there in the chat box earlier. And this meeting's also been recorded, so if you missed any portion of it or you know anyone else who's interested, that will be up on our website as well. But really wanted to thank you, Hal and Anthony, again for taking the time out of your busy schedule today to make this presentation. It's a great presentation. And like I said, I know you guys are swamped, so we really appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us today as well. And I hope to see you all soon at our upcoming spring meeting. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Take care.
Everyone.